All right. All right. Welcome. Happy Thursday, everybody. For anybody who was at Nationals Conference back in June, you may recognize the lovely Steve, and thank you for hanging out with us again. Um, so today we are talking about the co-creation of value for our clients and ultimately our team. It's imperative that our teams, both internally and externally, are able to collaborate and communicate effectively. Really what we're talking about here is maintaining relationships and about creating value for our clients by helping them achieve their goals they had in mind when they hired your firm and they hired you, and giving your company a competitive edge. This is a great topic for the end of the year as we start to think about our marketing plans and integrating sales and just working together as a team. So I love that this is happening at the end of the year, as we're trying to tie up all of the current year and then looking ahead. So there's no better teacher than Steve. He's the owner of Steve Gavatorta Group. And so he has offered to just help provide some insight and help us develop some skills and opportunities through all of the stages of our clients and our team. So he's also going to help us understand which aspects are controllable and which aren't. So I think that's going to be super fascinating. He has coached and trained thousands of high performers across so many different industries. So he's got a good grasp on everything, but specifically the design industry. He's a certified professional behavioral analyst, a certified professional values analyst, certified Myers-Briggs practitioner, certified in emotional intelligence. He's also got 2 books, and he's been so amazing, and he's actually going to give everybody here today a free ebook. So that'll come after this. So thank you, Steve. Hold that beautiful book up. It was a bestseller in 2018 on Amazon. And on top of all of that, he also, I'm going to butcher this, but he does Thai boxing. So you're going to have to tell them the story of that.
Yeah, you chickened out on the real word of it. It's actually called Muay Thai.
Okay.
Yeah, Muay Thai, and it is Thai boxing, but they also call it the art of 8 limbs. So you punch, you use elbows, you use knees, and you use your feet. So I've been a Muay Thai practitioner for about 13 years and really enjoy it. By and large, until like earlier today, you accidentally kick your coach in the jaw, and that's not good. But he survived, and sparring got a little feisty today. Let's put it that way. But yes, I do spar, but I don't compete. I'm way too old, so that passed me by. So, but we'll do a little sparring today. And I guess assuming we're ready to go, Brittany.
We are so ready to dive in, and if there's any time at the end, you can definitely show us your moves.
Yeah, I'm tired now. It wears me out. But this is a topic that actually is really near and dear to my heart. It's one of my newer programs, and it's because my experience through the years. I've been working the AEC arena, probably started about 8 years ago, primarily from the manufacturer end. One of my biggest clients is Stanley Black & Decker, who obviously supplies general contractors, developers with a lot of tools and equipment to do their work. But through that, I've grown into working with distributorships, architecture firms, engineers, directly with general contractors to really run the gamut. And I just think this topic is huge. Communication, collaboration, absolutely is huge in general, but the optimizing the lifetime value of a customer engagement is near and dear to my heart. And I'll explain what I mean by that as we move forward. So this is new program. I'm excited to talk about it. And I want this to be, if possible, as interactive as possible. So I also want you to leave with some valuable skill sets when you walk away as well, too. So we're going to open up with a little exercise. If you can pull out a sheet of paper, I'll give you about 10 seconds. Pull out a sheet of paper. I'm going to put you to work. And there is a method of my madness, so bear with me with this little exercise we're going to do.
We can only pick one?
So, yes, at this point.
Okay.
It will resonate with others. So we're just laying the groundwork. We're building the foundation in your terminologies. But I want you to think of a person that you collaborate with, whether it's an internal colleague or an external customer, who you either have issues with, you're having difficulties collaborating, communicating with them, or they are important to your world and you're just not getting the best or the most out of them. So we're not mentioning any names. Write the name down and think who that person would be. Someone you collaborate with often, but struggle with. Again, internal or external customer. And Brittany, I see some chat box stuff come up. If there's anything that needs to be addressed, if you can let me know.
I mean, unless you need a certificate of attendance, you're cool.
No. Okay, good. So regarding this person, I want to ask you to paper list of 4 to 8 words that describe this person. These are some examples: aggressive, personable, collaborative, analytical, gregarious, stoic, risk averse, difficult, extroverted, introverted, a jerk, stubborn, whatever words come to mind, words or phrases, anything that comes to mind. Write those down on that sheet of paper. I'll give you about 30 seconds. I'd give you more time to do that, but we don't have enough time, but about 30 seconds to do that. Okay, regarding this same person, would you consider them more of a fast-paced, outgoing person? They're always on the go, always moving, tends to be a little bit on the extroverted side, or whether they are more of a cautious, reflective person. They move at a little slower pace, a little bit more analytical, and they are a little bit more on the introverted side. So are they more FPO or CR? Fast-paced, outgoing, or cautious and reflecting? You can just put the initials. Next, is this person more people-oriented or task-oriented? Are they more task-oriented? They always have irons in the fires, always working on tasks, or do they tend to be more talkative, get their energy being around people, and a little bit more on the extroverted side? And then lastly, I'll let you give you a couple seconds to do that. And then lastly, is this person more direct in their communication or indirect? Direct meaning they don't mince words, you know where they're coming from, or indirect. They beat around the bush, maybe don't get to the point, maybe say, yes, they're going to do something and don't do it or don't follow up with it. So they more direct or indirect? And then I'll give you about 10 seconds and you can put that away. And we'll come back to that. Put that away for now. Okay, today the overarching objectives are going to be threefold, and I wanted to say something up front. I am going to give you a lot of information. It's only probably 14 pages of content, but it's a lot of stuff, a lot of information. So there's a lot of content in here. I put a little bit more in because when I'm done, I leave and you're listening to the recording or you're looking at the presentation, I want you to have reference points. Truth be told, we could do a full day workshop on this content, but we only have obviously an hour. So I'm going to top line as much as possible. And I think and hope give you some insights, takeaways, some food for thought too. So the first thing we're going to do is discover the importance of what I call the lifetime value of a customer engagement. I'm going to discuss that, and understanding that each project is a dynamic process, so many moving parts. Collaboration and communication is a must. I work with a lot of industries. AEC, in my opinion, is I don't know how to say this, the most dynamic, I guess, most hands in a pot, more different stages, and people involved at different stages where, again, communication, collaboration needs to happen. If it doesn't, it can create problems on a project. So looking at a project holistically rather than in stages and in parts. And if we do that, if we tend to look at things more broadly, we can see the greater value that we bring and the greater importance there is in our ability to collaborate and communicate both internally and externally. Those customers who can do that, collaborate, communicate effectively throughout the entire lifetime of a project, in my opinion, are going to create a point of differentiation for them, their products and services, and they're going to really gain long-term loyal customers. So that's the overarching theme. I'm going to touch on it a bit more here very soon. We're going to talk about how to optimize effective communication. To be effective in communicating, we need to realize that all people don't communicate alike. Not all people collaborate alike. So if I'm hypothetically saying I'm a very gregarious person, I'm talkative, I'm outgoing, I love engaging, I love collaborating with people, but a person I'm collaborating with is type A personality, no nonsense, to the point, impatient, there could be problems in my ability to collaborate with that person. They may get impatient. They may try to take control of the process of what we're trying to work on together. So it's imperative we understand ourselves and we understand others. So we're going to spend a little time learning a little bit about yourself and learning about some of the people you collaborate with so you can be better at communicating and collaborating them down the pike. And then lastly, we'll review some top line skills and processes and tools you can help to become better at collaborating and optimizing that whole dynamic. So moving forward, let's first get in part one. Remember, it's 3 parts. First part is important, the importance of the lifetime value of a customer engagement. To be effective, we have to understand teamwork. Teamwork involves collaboration and communication. If someone isn't communicating, someone isn't collaborating, we're not functioning as a team. As the quote says by Andrew Carnegie, teamwork is the ability to work together towards a common vision. The optimal word here is common vision. What do we know what that common vision is based on what we're trying to work on or external customers trying to work on, or what we're working on in our department versus what someone we're collaborating with in a total another department internally is dealing with. Are we in sync? Because if we're not in sync, we're not going to be able to collaborate. We're not going to be able to function as a well-oiled machine. The ability to, so let's go backwards. Teamwork is the ability to work together toward a common vision, the ability to direct individual accomplishments toward organizational objectives. It's the fuel that allows common people to attain uncommon results. So with that said, let's delve into what is the lifetime value of a customer engagement about. And as I said, in your industry, a client project is a dynamic process. It includes many stages, many moving parts, and a lot of people at different times. So who's involved in collaborating on a customer engagement? Everyone, both on the internal and external department side. Oftentimes, when we look at a project in stages, we don't look at it holistically and understand we must optimize communication and collaboration at each of the stages of an engagement during the pre-biz dev phase, during an initial bid interview, bid phase, during an estimating phase, during a value engineering phase, and during the actual project. So it's important that we are functioning as a well-oiled machine so we are communicating properly internally and in turn communicating, collaborating properly externally as well too. If we do that, we'll not only optimize the project where it says project engagement, but we will set the stage for post-engagement business as well too. If there's an opportunity for a developer, general contractor, end user customer to bring you into a project because you did so well in the actual delivery of the requirements of the original project, that means long-term loyal business for you. That means they will use you more often and that will grow your business. So when customer engagement is done correctly, it leads to long-term growth and loyalty. If you do things correctly, you're going to help your customers grow their business, be more productive, land on time, land on budget. You're going to help them be more profitable. The job's going to be done efficiently. under budget again, on time, and it's going to grow yours and their business as well too. So the more successful you can help your customers be, the more successful you're going to be. I have a friend who's a developer, and he stated to me recently that he goes to bed nervous and wakes up scared. And I always tell my clients that anyone that can help my friend sleep at night is going to win the day. Anyone that can not only help him sleep at night, but first and foremost, understand what's keeping him up at night and be a solution for those issues is going to win the day. So a project like his, again, runs this gamut: bid phase, bid interview phase, estimating phase, the actual project, and post work. So it's the clients that can help him operate seamlessly, minimize those issues, are going to win the day. And that's looking at a job holistically, not individually. And you see the outcomes of, again, if you can help him sleep at night, you're going to win the day. And that takes communication and collaboration, both internally in your business and externally with that customer as well too. So with that said, effective communication and collaboration, looking holistically at a business, can create a point of differentiation for you, your product, and services as well too. So that's just the stake in the ground. And my point is, to do this, you have to understand looking at the business holistically, not in little stages, not in little fiefdoms, not in little silos, but holistically. We are functioning as a well-oiled machine internally and helping our customers function as a well-oiled machine externally. And that takes constant communication and collaboration. Now let's break that down into some practical skills you can use every day. Let's talk about communication first. I think everyone on this call would state that trust is the most foundational element of any successful relationship. Without trust, you don't have a foundation. If you don't trust me, I'm not going to listen to you. If you don't trust me, we're not going to be able to collaborate together. If my friend who can't sleep at night does not trust those people calling on him, he's not going to listen to them. They're only going to frustrate him. So this is the first thing we need to do to be effective at communication, and especially collaboration, is to build trust through effective communication. So let's look at a quote by Stephen Covey first. Trust is the glue of life. It's the most essential ingredient in effective communication. It's the foundational principle that holds all relationships together. So once again, to effectively collaborate, to effectively solve for customer needs, problems, opportunities, we've got to build trust. The key, however, is the way you build trust differs with different people based on their communication style, based on what they're motivated by, based on how they make decisions, based on how they deal change, risk, and we're all different in that capacity. So the more we can understand about ourselves and understanding others, the more effective we're going to be. So as Anthony Robbins says, to effectively communicate, we must realize that we are on different in the way we perceive the world, and use this understanding as a guide in our communication with others. So those of you who may have joined me in Tampa for the national meeting, we're going to review some things a little familiar from that session. If not, this will be something new. But what I do typically with my customers to help them build trust through effective communication and collaborate better is I use the insights from a behavioral survey called DISC. Some of you may have experienced DISC before. It's an assessment that people can take to help them understand their communication style, their behavior style. There's others like it, similar social styles, Herman Brain, Myers-Briggs. They're all Carl Jung based and all similar. I just like using DISC because I think it's the most turnkey and easiest to understand. So I'm going to spend some time reviewing the 4 DISC behavior styles, all the attributes associated with each styles, so you understand yourself better and you start thinking about those people with whom you're communicating, collaborating with, both internally and externally. This is important because hypothetically, just to give an example, if I'm someone very analytical, very much the number cruncher, I move at a slower pace, and I'm collaborating with someone who's very forceful, direct, decisive, impatient, and a type A personality, there's a chance we're going to clash in collaborating, because that person may want to move quicker. They may take control of the situation and in turn not collaborate. So the more I can understand about myself, the strengths I bring to communication and collaboration, and know the person I'm dealing with, their strengths in communication and collaboration, we're going to be able to better work as one. Two parties working as one, or many parties working collectively as one as well too. So we're going to use DISC as the foundational element to do this. So DISC is an acronym for 4 base behavior styles. D stands for dominance, I stands for influence, S stands for steadiness, C stands for compliance. I'm going to help you understand all the attributes associated with those 4 styles, how each style behaves, communicates, is motivated, how they face adversity, and how they deal with change, risk, and conflict. Because once again, the more I can understand that about myself, the more successful I'm going to be. But more importantly, the more I can understand that in the folks I'm collaborating with, the more successful I am going to be in driving a collaborative environment and helping them optimize the skills they bring to a team project, something of that nature as well too. So as we go forward, again, I'm going to help you understand all these 4 styles and start thinking about what you think your style is if you've not taken the DISC survey before. So people who are considered what I call Ds, or high D styles, are called dominance. So dominance, influence, steadiness, and compliance. People who are high Ds are aggressive, forceful, decisive, independent, challenging, very type A personality. There's 3 indicators with each style too. Indicator number 1 is going to ask, is this style fast-paced and outgoing, or is this style cautious, reflective? Dominant styles are fast-paced and outgoing. Indicator 2 is going to ask, is this style task-oriented or people-oriented? Dominant styles are more task-oriented. And indicator 3 is going to ask, is this style direct or indirect? Dominant styles are more direct. And these are little cues. We're going to come back to this in a bit. This is very important, this top part of this page. Influencers are very gregarious, talking about going, extroverted. They get their energy from being around people. They are more fast-paced and outgoing. They are more people-oriented, and they are more indirect. They tend to be more indirect because they may not get to the point. They may beat around the bush, where the dominant style is going to get to the point right away. Steadiness styles are very methodical, systematic, reliable, steady, relaxed, modest. They are more cautious and reflective. They are more people-oriented, and they are more indirect for the similar reasons as a high I. High Is are much more extroverted. Steadiness styles are more introverted. So look at it that way. And lastly, C stands for compliant. Compliant styles are very analytical, careful, contemplative, exacting, deliberative. They are more cautious and reflective. They are more task-oriented, and they are more direct. Dominant and compliant styles make their decisions based off of facts and data. The dominant style just wants the top line. The compliant style wants the whole everything in a kitchen sink. They take their time and like analyzing a lot of information. So the way they collaborate may differ to somewhat. They may be driven by numbers, facts, data, and information. However, time frame, the dominant style is going to move quicker. The compliant style is going to move slower. So it's imperative we know that. Influencer and steadiness styles are more tied to relationships. They're more comfortable with relationships. The steadiness style is highly collaborative. So the style that will be easiest to collaborate with will be the steadiness style. So Brittany, we're going to play a little game here, just based on what I captured so far. Put the poll up and ask people. I want people to state what style they think they are. We'll give you a few seconds to answer this. So do you think do you know you are a D, I, S, or C? So let's type that down, put that in there. So we have a high S in there, 2 high S's. Great, a collaborative crew. I love this. 3.
Which one are you?
4. I'll touch that in a bit.
Oh, okay.
All steadiness. I love this. This is like the perfect collaborative team.
Just waiting on a couple more. We'll give it 15
Oh,
more.
there's an influencer.
Well,
This is a excellent collaborative crew. Not saying the other styles are bad. We have a compliant in there.
there you go. And then I think there's one more. And it looks like Carrie can't vote on there, so she's saying steadiness. So
Okay, so this is in many ways good for the people on this team, and I'm not saying there's good and bad, but I'm saying steadiness is a collaborative style. They're motivated by teamwork. They like working together. So keep that in mind. Not saying the other styles don't, but this is a natural fit. And to your question, Brittany, I am a high S as well too. And we are not typically D or I or S or C. We're typically blends of different styles. I'm a primary high S, but with some high D dominant style as well too. So that's the first poll. The second poll, I want you to go back and look at the exercise that we did at the beginning of the session. Basically, what I did, I asked you, and let's pull this poll down. I asked you to capture for a difficult person or someone important you need to collaborate with, 4 to 8 words that describe someone. Then I asked you to capture essentially the 3 indicators on this page. So I was helping you learn to profile the disc style of someone you're having issues with, or you need to get more information for, or get better results with. So look, take a couple minutes or a couple seconds, look at what you captured, descriptors and indicators on that opening exercise, and align them to what I have atop this page. And then reopen that poll, Brittany, and have the folks type in what they think the style of that other person they're either having difficulties with or are an important person that they may not getting the best results.
perfect. It is up, and Carrie is, she said dominant, evenly dominant, and influencer. And maybe one more. Give it another 5 seconds. Perfect.
So look at this. I asked you a person you're either struggling with or you need to get better results with. And almost this entire group was steadiness styles. There was an influencer and one compliant in there. Looking at the person they're struggling with, what's it saying on this slide? It's almost it's definitely a different style from you. You know, there's a lot of high D's in here with people you're struggling with. And the reason you may be struggling with is, especially in a collaboration, they tend to take control of things. They're impatient. They like to be the leader of things. So they're not oftentimes good at collaborating. Not saying they cannot. There's strengths to each style from a collaborative perspective. But I want you to start thinking. I taught you a skill on how to read the styles of people you're engaging with, whether they're internal or external customers, so you can start better understanding how to communicate with them and how they collaborate, and you may be able to better collaborate with them as well too. So that was a skill that you learned to start thinking about other people and being able to some extent categorize what their style is and how best to deal with them. So some cues and tips for dealing with these different styles. If I know someone's a high D, here's some things that their strengths are and how I might need to approach them. So they're motivated by more authority, challenges. They might be good in a collaborative dynamic, especially in solving a problem, because they like challenges. They like trying to figure out pieces of the puzzle, but they do like more authority. So they may want to be the leader of the group. If you're working on a collaborative environment with equals, you may have to pull their reins in a little bit. What drives them when dealing with them is being direct to the point, no nonsense, stick to business, don't waste their time. They have direct, straightforward communication, stick to facts and figures. Don't try to win them over with your wonderful personality. Influencers are motivated by their image. They like to look good. They like to do a good job. When dealing with them, be enthusiastic, break the ice, engage with them. Don't overwhelm them with heavy data, and make them look good. Help them be a valuable member of the team. Their communication style is friendly and informal, and when dealing with them, talk about people, their goals, spend time communicating, talking with them, and focus on the benefits of our collaboration to the client, to the department, things of that nature. Steadiness styles, they're motivated by peace and stability when dealing with them. Be open, sincere, honest, move at a slower pace, stick to working together as a team. They are very naturally collaborative, and give them time to think things through. Be sincere, honest, move at a slow pace, break the ice, and don't overwhelm them with data as well too, and take your time, be persistent. And once again, emphasize collaboration with them. It's easy to do. Compliance styles are motivated by excellence and quality. They don't like making mistakes. They like doing the right thing. So they like quality, service, dependability. They do make decisions on data. So the more data to analyze, the better. And their communication style is logical and detailed, approach in a direct, straightforward way, present your specific and facts, and do not be overbearing with your personal dynamics. So as you can look at these right now, you can start seeing the motivators, the communication styles, and how people may collaborate together. So typically, like styles tend to collaborate better because they understand each other a little bit more. They're closer in understanding each other. But collaborating, but same style collaborations oftentimes don't equal success. What could be, and you can yell this out if you want, what could be the downside of two eyes collaborating on a project?
No one's
Anybody?
checking the facts.
No one's checking the facts. That's number one, because that's not their natural inclination. Number two, they may not get to the point because they're a lot of the times talking and things of that nature, and may not come to consensus on things. What's the downside of two compliance styles on a project? Think about that. Highly risk averse, numbers oriented. What might be a downside of them collaborating together? Anybody?
Carrie in the chat box, she's saying not looking at options or alternatives, EB, analysis paralysis.
Analysis, there's another. Yeah, so not looking at options, being stuck in the cement, and then analysis paralysis, not being able to move forward, being overthinking things. So we talk about diversity in our world. I like talking about diversity of style. Not one style has a premium on being a great collaborator. Yes, S's are more inclined to do that, but each style brings a strength to the table with regard to a collaborative dynamic. So this key is to leverage the strengths that these different styles bring to the table. The compliance style is taking the time, analyzing the data and facts. The dominant style can help move us along to bring consensus to an idea. Influencers and steadiness styles can be great champions in a collaboration, keep people motivated, and deliver a message throughout the organization. So I'm going to get in this a bit little further in the presentation, but each style brings a lot of value to a collaboration. But what we need to do first is understand the dynamics of different styles, so we're more predictive of the bad things that we need to look out for. But on the flip side is, what are the good things we can leverage to bring an excellent communication and collaboration together when we're working on a project, solving a problem, whatever that might be. Lastly, regarding the four styles, is how each style deals with change, risk-taking, and decision-making. Regarding change and risk, as you go left to right, the willingness to make a change or take a risk diminishes as you go left to right. Dominant and compliance styles will be more willing to make a change and take a risk. Steadiness and compliance styles will be a little less willing to make a change and take a risk. And then decision making as well too. Dominant influence, as you go left to right, the speed at which these styles make a decision slows. So dominant influencers will make faster decisions. Steadiness and compliance styles will make slower decisions. Dominant and compliance styles will make their decisions based off of facts and data and numbers. Influencers and steadiness styles will make decisions more based on relationship, things of that nature. So think about how this comes into play when you're collaborating with someone. not only the plus sides, but the potential downsides to look out for, but the ability to wield the strengths of yourself based on your style and know who your collaborator is, and bring the best of that person's styles or team styles into the point. So the key in optimizing communication and collaboration is to understand the person you're collaborating with and align approach to bring strength to a communication, strength to a collaborative dynamic. So you want to maybe align to a communication style of someone else that brings out the best in them. You want to understand other styles motivators so you can leverage those. If I know someone's motivated by numbers and facts and data, I may have them work on something around facts and data. If I know someone else is a champion, they're motivated by looking good, that might be someone who can champion an idea. So leverage the strengths of those different styles. Understand how the styles deal with change and risk-taking too, so you can enhance a collaborative dynamic. If someone's a risk taker or risk averse, then you may need to bring them along faster than they're comfortable with numbers, facts, and data. If they're a risk taker, they move quick, you may have to rein them in. So understand that. And lastly, assist them in that decision making. If I make fast, rash decisions, I may need to slow that person down. If I'm afraid to make decisions, I may need to move them along a little bit further. So instead of getting frustrated with people, understand that it may be the reasons they may be moving quickly or digging in their heels or getting frustrated may be solely a style dynamic. So help understand that, and the more you can understand them, the more you're going to understand maybe why they're digging in their heels, or why they're afraid of the change, or why they're afraid to communicate something. So this really opens up a whole dynamic. When we understand the different styles of the team and the strengths they bring, the more successful we're going to be. So when collaborating, just understand the strengths of each style. Dominant styles challenge the status quo. They're self-starters. You're not going to have to motivate them. They are great at multitasking, and they have the ability to be adaptable, flexible. They're not afraid to do that. And they do have a sense of urgency, so they can bring a team, to move a little bit quicker and get things done on target, on budget, on time. So those are strengths of a dominant style. Some other strengths are, how do these styles deal with adversity, ambiguity, change, and problem solving? Regarding adversity, if we're dealing on a project and there's an adverse situation happening, they may be challenged by that. They love obstacles and they're willing to work through it. Ambiguity, they can find ways during ambiguous times. Change, they're fearless. They love change. And regarding problem solving, they can tend to think out of the box, and they are determined to succeed. They'll work through that. Influencer styles, their strengths are they can accomplish goals through people. They're optimistic and enthusiastic. They can negotiate conflict. They're a great people motivator. As I said earlier, they're great champions. They can help motivate people, carry a positive message internally and externally to customers. Regarding adversity, they're motivated to work through things, help people succeed during adverse times. They can actually flourish during change and ambiguity because they're not motivated. They're not pulled back by it. It's a new opportunity, something new for us to challenge for us to overcome. Problem solving, they're good at really seeing the strengths of what other people bring to the table in solving a problem. So once again, a good attribute to have for a collaborative dynamic. Steadiness styles, what they bring to the table are patience, being empathetic. They can diffuse confrontation, very service-oriented. Again, very naturally collaborative. They want to work together as a team, and they can be a calming factor during stressful times. Regarding adversity, they're very thoughtful and methodical in thinking through something so people aren't moving too quick. They can work their way through obstacles. Ambiguity and change, they can calmly see things that others can't because they're methodical. They tend to think things through, and they're willing to get the insights, very much like a high eye, of other people, bringing in the strengths, getting the input from all parties to make sure the end product is based off of collaborative input, working towards the same goals, but with collaborative input from everybody. And lastly, the compliance style. What strengths they bring, they're fact-based, numbers-oriented. They tend to weigh all options, so there's not going to be a rash decision, highly analytical. mistake-free, and they're highly predictive of events because they analyze things. They may have seen something like this before and can predict what happens or what it means now. Lastly, change, adversity, ambiguity, change, and problem solving. They're clear thinkers. They make their decisions on numbers and facts. They can maintain structure and order on a team because they're sticklers for that. They bring in facts and reasons for making change. They can pull the team back if they're moving fast, and they make decisions without emotion. They'll see the facts, the positive reasons they should do something and act on that. A dominant style will do that as well too, but a compliant style tends to pull back even a little bit more. So the key in collaboration is understanding the team that's on this collaborative environment, whether it's one-on-one or whether it's a group, whether it's internal or external, or whether it's both. Know the dynamics of the party involved and be able to understand where the hiccups can happen in a collaborative dynamic and the strengths that each person brings in his collaborative dynamic, and use those to your advantage. Predict what may happen and leverage all the good parts of each style. So once again, diversity is the big word. Let's think about that in how we collaborate with people based on their respective style. So just some insights and skills and tips to help you become better during the collaborative process. Things to consider, always thinking about once we get past the people side of things. And I talk about 4 foundational collaborative skills. Being good at questioning, listening. If you're not good at questioning, listening, you're not going to be good in a collaborative environment. There's something called 3 R's, which is a review, restate, reframe. That's about gaining alignment on a project you're collaborating on. If there's not clarity of the end game, if there's not clarity about the objective, how are we knowing that we're collaborating towards the right things? The 3 R's can help us define that alignment. Shopping list and variables, and I'm going to talk about that. Those are things that we may need to deal with in a collaborative dynamic. Different departments working with each other, internal and external customers working with each other. We may be negotiating on time, resources, budgets, personnel, resources, things of that nature, because we may need to use each other's resources, money, time, so on and so forth. So how we negotiate who needs what and who can give up things to get what other people need. We're going to talk a little bit about that. I hope that wasn't a tongue tire. And oftentimes in a collaborative environment, we tend to drift off, or someone may drift off and forget the task at hand. Something called the 3 F's, feel, felt, and found, is a way to pull all parties back together and revisit the task at hand and how we need to solve for that respective situation we're working on. So the benefits, the usage and benefits of these 4 foundational collaborative skills is this. It drives dialogue versus telling. It's not telling people what they need to do. It's helping generate a dialogue so people come to consensus on what needs to be done. It sets the stage for a collaborative environment. It keeps people thinking in a rational state of mind. If we're in a collaborative environment and I'm getting frustrated, or another person getting frustrated, we may get angry, we may shut down, we may walk away from it. We're no longer productive in a collaborative environment if we're in an emotional state of freeze, fight, or flight. These 4 skills help all parties stay rational during a team environment. And lastly, these foundational skills focus on individual tasks and goals. Once again, it keeps us moving progressively. Different parties, maybe 1, 2, or more, moving as one. So using these skills is important in a collaborative dynamic. Number 1, effective question listening skills. In a collaborative dynamic, you always engage in dialogues, not monologues. Don't tell, don't overly direct. Gain insights, have a discussion so you can leverage the strength dynamics of each person in that collaborative dynamic. Ask questions, listen, demonstrate your understanding, and provide adequate information when needed, and ask any clarifying questions. Most people aren't very good at question and listening skills. They tend to talk over people. They're not necessarily listening what others saying. And that is a poison pill when working in a collaborative dynamic, in a team dynamic with a customer. It's imperative we are good at asking great questions, getting another person to talk, and then listening to what's being said. Oftentimes when we're engaging with another person, we tend to do all closed-ended questions, yes, no, maybe answers. When you can get someone else talking, asking open-ended questions, you're going to learn more about their needs, what they need from you, what they need for success in working on something as a team. The more you can build trust, as we said earlier, and get them talking, the more you're going to understand what their needs are and have a more successful dynamic. And as I said earlier, be a good listener, practice active listening. First, release. What I mean by that is release any agendas you have. Hear someone out, listening what they said. Be attentive, be in the moment, listen to what they're saying, hear what they're saying, amplify back what you've heard, and then reflect back, making sure all parties are on the same page. The thing that will hurt a collaborative dynamic, a teamwork dynamic, is everyone not being on the same page. We think we are, but we're not on the same page. What do they say? We don't have to put this in the chat box, but I think everybody knows. What do you say about assuming? Makes an ass out of you and me. So never assume when working in a collaborative dynamic. So let's look at a 4-part collaborative process. These are things that are needed to ensure a team environment, a collaborative processes of success. We're going to talk about 4 pieces along this process, then the foundational tools I mentioned earlier and how they work together. So the number one thing, if you're working on a team dynamic, is you must collaborate towards a common goal. There must be no gray area on what you're working towards. I'm sure a lot of you have worked on projects and really it wasn't ironed out and the end product isn't what the desired person was looking for. I'm sure that's happened with you before. Or 2 teams are working on something and it doesn't seem like we're meshing. That's the worst thing can happen in working in a team dynamic or a collaborative dynamic. So the first thing you need to do is collaborate towards common goals. So to effectively collaborate, we need to identify what the end goal looks like. What does success look like? For my friend, if you're the developer, what's keeping him up at night and how can we solve for that? You don't know how to build or collaborate to solve for that till you uncover clearly what's keeping him up at night. And any party involved in helping him sleep at night needs to understand that so they can work. You 2 teams can, or more teams can work collaboratively to solve for that. Gaining alignment is about engaging in dialogues, not monologues, asking questions, clarifying, getting someone else to talk. Is again, if my friend's not sleeping at night, we're going to solve that problem. It's several departments have to work towards that. We've got to engage, talk to him, uncover what's keeping him from sleeping at night. What problems is he facing? What opportunities is he missing? Because once we clearly understand that, then we will be able to marshal efforts of maybe 2 different teams collaborating to solve his respective problem. Until that's fully understood, we're not going to be successful as a team trying to engage him. So as I said earlier, the 3 R's is a great way to validate the common goal between 2 or more parties. The 3 R's are basically review, restate, reframe. So the review validates you and the collaborative partners are in sync. So, Mr. Developer, what is keeping you at night? Reviewing what's being said. Restate what he has said in his terms. It states the issue that he stated in his terms. So you're validating what he said. Then have him reframe or you reframe what he's been said. So you're gaining alignment. 3 R's is about making sure we're in sync. Review what's happening, restate what that other person said in their terms, and reframe what you're going to do moving forward. That ensures there's no gray area. That ensures this party and this party know what we're working towards. If we don't do that, we're not going to be successful. Most team efforts are a failure or don't succeed because the right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing. This department's working as a silo, and this department's working as a silo, and we're not working collectively as a team to solve for a problem. That's the main issue. One of the main reasons problems don't get solved. We're not aligning on mutual goals that we need to accomplish. So review, restate, reframe is a great way of validating the common goal so we can work towards that. Understand to collaborating is a reciprocal dynamic. There's oftentimes reciprocal responsibilities, time, resources, money, budgets, responsibilities. Things of that nature often happen where my department may not have the manpower, but yours does. Your department has the budget, mine doesn't. My department has certain resources, your department has other resources that we both need collectively to solve the problem. Understanding that game of give and take is a great way to keep a collaborative dynamic moving forward. So reciprocity is about giving something someone else values in return for something you need or you have. So collaboration, as I said, is often a good intake. It's imperative that these commitments are dealt with up front. So I often talk about prior to collaboration, we need to understand what I call shopping lists and tradable variables. I often use this in negotiation skills workshops. Let's hypothetically say we're working on a project. We've identified the common goal. But there's certain things I need to be successful on my end, and there's things you need to be successful on things on your end. Those are the shopping lists. These are my drop deads. Is it a time frame? Is it resources? Is it budget? What are things I need? What are on my shopping list that I need to be successful on my end? And what are shopping list items on their end that they need to be successful? Tradable variables are things that I and that other party can give up to get things from that other department. So once again, we're collaborating and we're able to solve for the common goal. So hypothetically say, I don't have the resources, you do. They may be able to apply resources to you that you don't have. That could be a tradable variable. You may have a budget to do something they don't. You'll be able to supply some of the budget to them. Time, resources, budgets, deadlines, objectives. These are all things that both parties should have on their shopping list and tradable variables. So again, shopping list is must-haves. I need to bring to bear what it needs to be successful towards this common goal. Shopping lists are things the other party needs to be successful. Tradable variables are potential things I can give up that the other party needs to be successful. Again, they may not have the resources. I can allocate a person on my team. They may not have the funds. We can allocate some budget on their end, or so on and so forth. So every collaboration is a reciprocal dynamic. Know your tradable variables and shopping lists so you can give and take, so we're both collaborating towards the same goals. Don't dig in your heels and fight that. Have those things up front and negotiate them as you're working together towards that common goal. Oftentimes, different parties kind of forget the task at hand. We get thrown off track. We kind of forget the common goal. The key during collaboration is to stay on task. Always stay focused on achieving the goal, that common goal that we agreed to at the beginning of this process. So to handle any pushback, use something called the 3 Fs, feel, felt, and found. So hypothetically, say someone gets off target of what we're working towards. You may say, listen, I understand how you feel. Others have felt the same way, but what we found was if we do X, Y, and Z, it's going to help us solve for his problem sooner rather than later. Or that I understand how you feel. Others have felt the same way, but what we found was if you can bring this part of the project to bear, it's going to help get this done faster as well too. So feel, felt, found is a way to handle any pushback or objections someone's giving you that you're collaborating with, whether it's an internal customer or an external customer as well too. It's a good way to just keep a dialogue going. And the nice thing about Feel, Felt, and Found is it shows empathy. You're not getting angry at someone saying, hey, that's not the task at hand, or we can't do that now. You're basically saying, hey, I hear what you're saying. I understand how you feel. Don't worry about that. I understand that. But right now, we can't do that. We have to stay on task. So it's a good way to, I guess, diffuse difficult situations. And lastly, always collaborate towards a win-win solution. What I mean by win-win-win is basically if I can help the person I'm collaborating with win, and in turn, if they have someone they have to satisfy to get their win, that helps us win. That's the win-win-win. So collaborative environment is one that creates that win-win-win. All goals are accomplished by all parties. It meets requirements by all parties. And again, it collects to that win-win-win. Everybody's happy, and we've solved for that respective issue. And we are growing our business both internally and externally. That's a lot of information, folks. Again, it could be a full-blown workshop, and I hope it makes sense. What I wanted to do, because it was so much information, was give you some skills and insights and tools you can begin using immediately. I hope it piques some interest, piques some thoughts. I have time on here now. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer. If you don't, but something comes up afterwards, please feel free to give me a call and send me an email. I'm happy to answer, but I'll stay on as long as anyone wants, or if there's any thoughts or input.
Take a second to breathe. You did amazing. You did.
It's a lot of information, folks,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to boil it down into an hour, and I hope it resonated.
Amazing. So many. I love the key nuggets verbiage. That was awesome. So anybody have any questions? I didn't see anything in the chat box. Carrie said she found it really helpful to ask, is there anything you need from me or us? So that was a good insight.
Oh, she's saying
Yeah.
to collaborate, you need to be, yes. Is there anything? And we tend to not, and that's good. I'm glad she said that, because that's something we don't think about. We're on task, we're moving forward. We're not thinking about, what do you need from me? What do you need? Ask those questions, get people talking. Again, I'm sure you've all heard your companies, the verbiage siloed. We're a siloed organization. We're a siloed company. They're siloed. Walking through a lot of these skills will enable us to be on the same page. So we're uncoupling, we're unsiloing from each the dynamics that may be going on internally. I often tell people too, I wanted to talk this, but it's just way short time. But oftentimes, especially internal collaborations, we forget we're on the same team. We forget our vision, mission, values. We forget our strategic objectives, and we may be different departments with different responsibility, but we're all part and parcel. We're all the same team trying to accomplish the same things. We need to be reminded that in many ways, a central point for collaborating internally is to understand our vision, mission, values, understand our strategic objectives, and make sure everyone knows in different departments how we feed into those vision, mission, values, and those strategic objectives. With those reminders, it allows us to re-hone in and think about, I understand why this department's doing what they're doing. I understand why this department's doing what they're doing. Now let's press forward. But we often work siloed, and that's what you do not want to do.
Agreed. So Steve, for anybody who wants to dive into this more and just kind of utilize some of your resources, can you just chat about, so we're giving a copy of the book, but you also have a newsletter that's really amazing. So I wanted to bring that up. And then it looks like you recommended some podcasts and some resources. So
yeah, if you want to, there's a lot of resources. If you're into training, development, whatnot, I have a wonderful YouTube site with a ton of videos. A lot of the disc stuff is in those videos. A lot of what I talked about is in those within my videos. So if you want to research anything where you may want my help or services or insights, just Google my name. I have plenty information out there. If you just simply Google my name. But as I said earlier, go up on my website. There's plenty of things about negotiation skills, selling skills, collaborating, teamwork, leadership, consultative selling, facing adversity. So there's a lot of developmental tools on that YouTube site. You can feel free to visit. I hope you guys enjoyed this. It's a fairly new program I'm offering. As I said, it best served would be a full day workshop. I hope I gave you enough to chew on within an hour, and you had some insights and takeaways.
Well, we're definitely going to poke you to come back next year. But as we mentioned in the beginning, he does coaching. He comes in and works in a group setting. So if you guys are interested for your firm, please reach out to him. All his contact information is there. And thank you so much for your time, Steve.
Thank you. I'd like to catch you, Brittany. Could we connect afterwards?
Yep. I've got a couple
Okay.
minutes after. So cool. I am going to go ahead and stop.